All right. I hope that I am back. I, oh, yay. Wow. I have been doing this for a long time. And while I have shared a very messy desktop screen, I have never had audio issues, and I didn't touch a thing. Wow. I promise this is not going to be an amateur hour. All right. So there, I lost all my energy for setting up our session. I have no idea where we dropped off. I am just going to back up a little bit and say, man, that really throws off your game, guys. Anna said, branding is. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so welcome back. Well, if anybody is going to cut this video after the fact, we'll just say, hey, welcome to Travel Marketeer Camp. Yeah? Okay. So what I was trying to say is throughout this camp, we're going to talk about branding and marketing. And many people think of marketing as the overarching activity of branding your logos and advertising and business cards and all the stuff, right? But I want us to rethink or reposition it. Branding is your macro level strategy. As a travelpreneur, as an advisor, you are the steward of your brand and you make brand decisions for not right now. You're doing it for your bigger story. Okay. So, branding is the house that marketing lives in. Okay. Marketing, advertising, it all lives under brand. Okay. So, you are chief brand officers. Okay. Marketing, that's what we categorize the tactics. So, think branding, overarching story, long game, and marketing is the tactics. They're the campaigns that you run. And when I say short, it doesn't mean it's a 90-day thing or a 30-day thing. It could be 2025. You've got marketing tactics, marketing strategies, but overall, those marketing strategies are feeding into your brand strategies. Okay, so little nuance there. I guarantee you, if you start dropping that around, people will be confused. They'll be like, "Oh, your brand is your logo," and you'll be like, "No, no, no. My company is my brand. My brand as a human being feeds into my company's brand." All right, so you're gonna impress the heck out of some people with that. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, talking about what we're gonna do this weekend. Okay, now that we've spent nearly 15 minutes just trying to get started. If you have joined me for any of the travel marketeering Saturday sessions, um, I'm doing them on the weekend, because I got a day job. I just like to do this for fun. On the Saturday sessions, I try to take topics. We talk about them for about 90 minutes, and we've talked about some great stuff, and I've seen some great things that you all are doing from those sessions. And I have to say, our entire team is just so excited about what this movement that we've got going on around travel marketeering. So super, super excited about that. The camp over the next 2 days is going to be a hands-on, and Saturday sessions are like that too. Hands-on, we're really going to stay focused on branding. We're going to talk about the uncovering your brand's foundation, and really doing some. We're going to do some. I've got some questions that I'm going to ask you. I want you to think about the things. We can definitely chat in the chat. So think about the things. I'm going to talk about loads of different things, and some of the things we talk about on Travel Marketeering Saturday sessions. So it's not all going to be brand new, but our approach is going to be a little different. This is us hanging out, on the weekend doing some deep work on your brand strategies, and we're gonna play a little bit. We've got a little more space to play. Now, as if I want to pop over, if you want, if we're talking about something and you're like, oh, that sounds like a social post I just did, drop a link in, let me go to it. That this is I've got set things, I have a set schedule that I want to keep us on, but I want to have time to explore, just like camp. I mean, camp is, we're gonna put on a play and it's gonna be fun, or we're gonna do Color Wars. Wasn't that in one of those 1980s kids movies? Or we'll do like Color Wars. I don't know. We're not gonna do that. But I want us to have space to play. And I want to make this unique for you and me. Like we're spending this time together as a group. Let's make the most out of it. Like I said, I do have a set schedule. So my job here is to keep us moving, keep us rolling, and make sure that we get through all the things. So today's session is going to be very much about brand work. So not only are we going to talk about some of the things that you want your brand to be, or maybe you want to evolve your brand. We're going to talk about those things, and I'm going to give you some things to think about. I'm going to tell you where I made mistakes. I listen. I am honest to a fault, very, very transparent. So I'm going to tell you those stories, and I want to hear your stories too, right? So we're going to talk about those things, and we're even going to do some digging around with tools like Canva. I'm gonna show you some design things. That sounds so technical, right? Aren't you excited? I'm gonna show you some design things. No, I'm gonna open up Canva just like I would on any given day, and we're gonna go in there and we're gonna do some things. Then I'm gonna show you some tools I know I have shared before, how to grab fonts and find fonts that work together. I'm gonna show you how to find colors. You might not be a designer, but you love this particular purple that is the color purple. You saw it on Broadway and there was something in the logo and you were like, I love that purple. And I'm going to show you how I would take that purple and then come up with a whole palette to work with that I am not, I am a designer in the sense that I know what I like and I am fearless when it comes to exploring. But my branding discipline kicks in and you'll see it in real time. I know it's there, like I can count on it. I'm 100% consistent when it comes to that. So today we're gonna play in brand and we'll go to different places. We'll look for inspiration. If your brand is at a point where you would like some feedback, or maybe you're at that point where you might want to change some things up, then we can talk about that too. But I do want to make sure that everybody, no matter where they are in their journey, gets a chance to delve into areas maybe they didn't consider with their brand. So we're going to get into the visuals of the brand, the story of the brand, your mission, your core values, all the things that you think, oh gosh, isn't that from the 1980s, having a mission statement in the break room? No, we're going to talk about how it can be applicable and how much thought you need to put into it, and mainly how I have approached it. And a little background on me. I said I don't know if you heard this part, but I realized the other day that I've been in marketing, branding, sales for over 30 years. And my main claim to fame, I would say, would be I worked for a cosmetic brand called Bare Minerals. And at the time, they actually weren't called Bare Minerals, they were called Bare Essentials. And it was a bath and body shop. And there was this little tiny table that had some makeup on it. And I worked with the CEO to make that a thing and make that a bigger part of the business. We ended up on QVC and the shopping channel and infomercials, and it just became a huge success and it was so much fun. Now, the story of that is a lot of retail, product development, a lot of that. But the great thing about cosmetics is if you are someone who partakes in cosmetics, there's always these kits and these things that you put things together, color palettes and things like that. So every time you're creating one of those products, you are working on a brand. It's a sub brand of the parent brand, but it was so much fun. We did one that was a goddess kit, and it all had goddess themes. It was like Art Deco, things like that. So the fact that I worked for a brand that had a personality and then got to work on little mini brands underneath it, that's where my love for creating and innovating with brands really came to be because I had the freedom to work within this established brand and explore different ideas. And not all of them worked. So even though the company was successful, they didn't all work. And then after Bare Minerals, I went on to start my own businesses. And if you've heard me say this before, I failed at every single one of them. I was terrible. I was a terrible entrepreneur. I followed shiny objects all over the place. I was distracted, and I didn't learn the very first thing that every entrepreneur either needs to learn or will learn eventually is you don't have a business until you have a sale. So it doesn't matter what CRM you're using, what your website looks like. I mean, obviously, these are all things that help you make that first sale. But sometimes those tools become distractions. And at the end of the day, the power to find your audience and get someone to buy from you, that's where the magic is. Once you do that, you can figure out what you liked, what you didn't like, what you do differently, and then you scale up from there. But what I did was I said, oh, if I buy this really expensive CRM, then I am spending time on my business. I'm working on my business. And that's a good thing, right? Ha ha ha. No, because what I did was I created more of an expense and something that I felt beholden to and never actually made the sale. Now I did have sales, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying those are the things that I use as I carry those around. I always say it's a chain of disappointment, right? You learn from your mistakes, but I carry it around like a chain because I never want to forget that I was distracted. As confident as I can be in so many different things, I was distracted, and that is very human of us to be distracted. So I always carry around that chain so I can be hyper focused. All right. So anyway, I ended up in travel, and that's where I found our network. And it has been a beautiful journey. And many of you I know I have worked with over the years, and I'm so grateful to you because let me say, I found my home right here, and I'm so glad that you're here. All right, so that's all the background story, talking about brand, talking about why I should be the one leading this camp. I'm your camp counselor, maybe camp director. I don't know. So I'm here for the brand now. Tomorrow. Today we're gonna go and play. We're gonna talk about things. We're gonna write things down. We're gonna go to websites. We're gonna really play like you are in my office and we're working on this project together. That is my hope. Okay. Then tomorrow we're going to work on really bringing your brand to life. So we are going to work on websites in a way that we're only going to do flying visits on these things. They're not deep dives. But what I hope I can show you is how I approach a website build, how I approach a social media strategy, how to build up your emails and different strategies that I like to employ when it comes to communicating via doing broadcast emails to really, again, bring the brand to life. Now, these are not your sales emails, not your one-to-one emails, but we're going to get into more of the broadcast email strategy and approaches that I have used that have worked, and also ones that I have over the last 7 years or 8 years working with our travelpreneurs. I've I've seen work. That's another thing. You're going to get a lot of stories like, oh, well, Kara did this, and this was the result of this. I will talk about some of the members I've been very fortunate to work with. So we're gonna dig into that. We're also going to get into tomorrow. We're going to get into content planners. I'm gonna share a tool with you to help you plan out your content. We're also going to look at campaign planner. That is not only going to help you say, I want to do this in March or April, okay, but also what are some what is a template for you to kind of work your way through the list of things that you should consider when you're thinking about a campaign. Let me make sure I've got all those things. Like want to, I've got. So just so you know, I am also going to. I'm going to snap things that we might be doing, or even maybe if you've given me some examples that we're going to take a look at. I'm going to snap some of those things. I know you're going to love this. I really buried this deep into the intro here. On Monday, everyone will get a field guide, a Travel Marketeer Camp field guide. And it has all of the branding content that I'm going to talk about. We're going to have, you're going to have all the details. You're going to have all the links to where we're going to go and the different tools that I talk about. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that, and you're gonna get links to the campaign planner, the SEO audit for search engine optimization. Hold on, the content planner, campaign planner, um, yeah, and whatever else I might think about along the way. Okay, so that's the difference in this camp environment is we're gonna have fun. You better have fun, and we are going to play and we are going to be on a journey together. And that, hands down, is the best way to approach it. But I also don't want you to be stressed out. I don't want you to say, "Oh gosh, I missed that website," or "You're going through all these archetypes. I need a PowerPoint." No, you don't need a PowerPoint. That's not what we're doing today. We're not doing a PowerPoint. I'm going to give you a field guide based on this session. So while I've got all the skeleton is here. Oops, where is it? It's here. It's not made up. I got it right here. I've got the skeleton. I want to make sure that if maybe I skip a section or I do it in a different order, I'm giving you the field guide based on camp. So I hope that sounds like fun. I know I took a long time to get all that intro out. And guys, we're gonna make this camp fun. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the weekend, I want you to feel like, whew, I am ready to tackle this. I've got this. I am a travel marketeer because you are. And I can't thank you enough for showing up. So I'm going to pop over to the chat before we tuck in because there's a lot of chat going on. So I want to see that. If you have never joined a Saturday session, something that you might see in the chat is TM for travel marketeering. Okay. So if you guys are trying to give kudos to each other, which I want you guys to chat with each other in the chat. Give each other TM. Or if you feel like I am right on the money with something, give me a TM. It's just the way that us travel marketeers communicate. So I'm gonna just get that out of the way. We're gonna pop over to the chat, and wow, you guys are on fire this morning. Okay, so everybody was giving me the kudos on the sound. Okay. I I really appreciate that. I've been in television for to like 2 decades, and I've not had that issue. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. I gotta get up. I gotta get caught up. Gosh, I love seeing all these faces and names. And you know what? Let's blame Zoom. Let's blame Zoom. I like that. Oh, and then Robin saying extra time at the end. After 2.5 hours or 2 and 3/4, you probably will be done with me. And Robin said, let's go all night. It's camp after all. I guess I could put the chat up there. Okay, not everybody's going to be into that, Robin. And Connie, I heard you. She said, I gotta say, I love the noon start time. I hear you. I thought I've been getting it from you guys, especially who are not, early risers or people on the time zones that it's very, very early. So maybe when we come back to Saturday sessions, I'll start at noon. Just maybe. Remember, I am doing this on my off day, guys. I was trying to do it when I could. Let's see. Okay, Morning Rush, Siobhan, I see that. Morning Rush in the house. She needs the time to sit. Eleanor, good to see you. Good afternoon. Amber, hi everyone. Hope you're having a fabulous weekend. Oh, Amanda. Sunny day from Charlotte, TM. Amanda, good to see you. It is a sunny day here in Atlanta, although I am in my travel marketeer camp, right? You see my little tent back there? And let's see, there's the little fire. Ooh, it's getting a little toasty behind me here. Let's see here. Laura said, I went all in. My kids and husband are so needy on the weekend that I used Marriott points to get a hotel room for the night. I love it. Oh my goodness here. Eleanor joining us from Charlotte. Let's see. Wow, there's so much. I love this. I really love this. Sissy said, I love Canva. I'm so glad. Peggy, love Canva. You know what, guys? I've been in marketing for a long time, branding and marketing. There, I tripped myself up there. And Canva is really powering up so many people. It is so empowering. I love to see it. So very, very glad of that. Let's see. Crystal loving Canva too. Um, it's oh my goodness. All right, I gotta move here. Amanda did say after my 30 plus years, she said, you not look a day over 35. Yes, I started it in the preschool. I was helping resell crayons. Uh, that was definitely something. Oh, I got some Bare Minerals love. Mia, hi everyone. Happy Saturday. Let's see. Oh, and Leslie was chiming in on distractions. Yes, the tools can so become distractions. Well said. Let's see. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. I might just have to jump here. Oh, Peggy did say camp council tier for travel marketeer. I like that. It might not flow off my tongue right now, but let's see here. I just want to make sure I get everybody before we start digging in here. And Kimberly, WorldVia loves you right on back. Oh, and you know what? That might be an interesting story when we talk about brand to dig into WorldVia. Maybe you're curious about how that name even came to be, which is one of my proudest, I will say, is one of my proudest moments of working with my boss, our CEO, Jason Block. So I think that warrants a definite story there. I love, and I know Holly, I'm getting to this late, but I love that Holly picked up right away. What is this TM? Why is everybody saying TM? Holly, I'm sure you now know it's for travel marketeering, but I had a feeling we needed to say that. Let's see here. We got sound. We're good. Do, 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 do. See, and here's Alicia, guys. I do my travel marketing sessions on Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and Alicia said I like 7:30 because it doesn't conflict with other planned weekend activities. Thank you very much, Alicia. That's exactly why I was doing it. All right, we are going to. I love all the chat. And guys, I've got multiple screens going. And when I get to talking, I definitely get distracted. So if the sound goes wonky or anything, please let me know. because I definitely want to I definitely want to address that. But let's tuck in. All right. So hopefully you got your snacks. If you do have to run to the toilet, you know what? You don't have to excuse yourself. Don't worry about it. Now, if I do, then all of a sudden we're gonna have a break. But I'm not planning on that. All right, let's tuck into the brand. Now, what I'd love to see, I'm not going to necessarily go to the chat, but for you guys who are joining live, I'd love for you to chime in. Are you just building a brand? Are you just getting started building a brand? Have you already built your brand? Or have you built your brand and are enhancing or looking to elevate it? I really feel like there's about three those three categories for the most part. I think that's very helpful for everyone in the audience to get an idea. I can already look over and I see a lot of people just getting started, and I saw some elevating there. Wow, you guys are, yeah, building a brand, been working on the brand. I love it. All right. Yes. Gosh, I'm just so excited that you guys are excited. This is so fantastic. All right. So everybody can kind of get a feel for where we're at, and just understand, I am going to go over some basic principles, but you are, without a doubt, you're going to get a little bit extra. You're always going to get a little bit extra. But I do like talking about some of the basics. And again, anything that I talk about, you are going to get in the field guide. That's what I'm looking down at. I built the field guide when the moment I knew we were going to do this camp, because I wanted to make sure that we were unpacking the story in a great way. Um, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. But just know on Monday you'll get the field guide. And what I'd love to do, because we're going to do these, we've got two more of these for the rest of the year. And I'd love to have you back, but it is going to be based on these foundational principles. So when you get the field guide, please let me know if there was something missing or something that you would like to see in it or would have liked to have seen in it, or maybe I missed something altogether in my riffing. So, because I want to make this a really cool experience for everybody that comes to camp. And who knows, maybe someday Travel Marketeer Camp goes to Travel Marketeer Retreat. I did I say that? Do you need to put that on a survey? I don't know. Maybe we do a retreat. I don't know. You could see us like renting a house, a very large house, like a real world, an MTV real world house in Charleston or something like that. And we just talk about travel marketeering and we go into town and we're so annoying because we are speaking our own language, all about brand palettes, brand voice, CTAs, calls to action. I don't know. That could be kind of fun. All right, so let's talk about brand. Again, brand, overarching story, and strategy. Obviously, your company name is your brand. The colors, the logos, all those things, they're a part of your brand. But as a company, you have to figure out who you're going to show up in the world as. And you're seeing it in so many different areas, but this is the period, the time period that it truly is about founders. And that may sound so weird. You think about founders and it, I don't know, I immediately when I hear the word founder, I think about the bank. Oh gosh, what was the guy's name? Oh, he's a famous comedian. He was in Mary Poppins, both of them. Uh, oh gosh, why am I? He played Bert, but then he played the old banker. Why am I not remembering? Dick Van Dyke. Thank you so much. Why was that so difficult for me? See, this is why I need you here. Thank you very much. So Dick Van Dyke, I always think when I think about founder, I think about him when he played the banker in the bank where the dad worked. But today, when you think about people who are famous on social media, um, even for very, very large companies, the founders of these companies are now they're everywhere. Maybe they've moved on from their company because they've made billions, but it really does come back to, even though we might not think about some of these big companies, like we don't necessarily think about Jeff Bezos for Amazon. We don't say, "Oh, I'm buying from Jeff Bezos" when I'm buying from Amazon. But many of us know that the guy started this selling books, right? So that human connection, the founder, it is it surrounds us. And what I love about that is it reinforces something that I've said many, many times, that I suffered from it, and that's why I talk about it. When I first started building companies, I immediately, even if the company hadn't sold one thing yet, and I just had an idea, the moment I branded that company with a name, I stopped. I felt like I had to treat it like this corporation, and I took myself away from it and tried to make everything, we at Wilson Woods Financial Services, da 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 da, provide excellent service, right? Who is we? Because it was me. Why am I doing this to myself? Every single time I approached it with, I'm going to go forward as the company, I failed. And then, like, I had to have the aha moment, even though I'd had it many times before, that there was no business if I was not the business. And I've seen it with our travelpreneurs. I've seen it over and over again, where they started their business, and they move forward with a company name on their about story on their website. It's all about we, and the company, the company, the company. And I've asked, do you have other people that you're working with, or are your plans to become an agency where you have multiple team members? Most of them, 99% of them say no. It's going to be me. It's only me. And so we always have the same little dance. And I say, I really think you need to infuse yourself into the brand. And they're like, I don't know about that. More often than not, when they step all the way into their power and they truly embrace the brand that they created, the brand came out of them, but they kept themselves, the human, separate from the brand. The moment they fuse it together, all of a sudden, it seems, like, no guarantee of success, but it seems easier because they're not having to um, have life support on the business and keep themselves alive. They just keep them alive, and it infuses the business, and it becomes effortless to move between personal and professional. Because, hey, at the end of the day, unless you are operating a business with multiple team members, and many of you probably are, I'm just saying most of you are solopreneurs. Um, but the fusing your personal and professional life together is going to be something that feels good when you've gotten it all aligned. And the reason why I say that is I've seen it in so many different scenarios, not just in travel. But when you are the founder, when you've created the company and it is your passion, even if it's a side hustle right now and you want it to be a full-time thing, or it's always going to be a side hustle, okay? When you can move effortlessly between, when your professional goals marry your personal goals and vice versa, it just feels natural. You don't feel like you don't have imposter syndrome where you're like, oh, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. I'm trying to be a business owner. Um, you've stepped into your power. You are this. So I know I just went on a big sermon there. I do realize I just did that, but I want you to understand when I talk about brand, for most of you, I'm going to say that is it's you. It's you. So when you're crafting, don't pick a color palette for your brand that doesn't align with you, your personal brand. your personal brand and your professional brand really, they don't have to, they're not identical twins, but they should look like they're within the same family, or they should feel that way. Look can often indicate fonts and those visual cues, but all in all, the fastest path to success, in my opinion, is always when you are true to yourself, and that makes you true to your brand. Okay. Let's see. Heather, I love this. Well, I don't love this, but I appreciate you saying this. Heather said, I definitely have imposter syndrome. So thank you, a TM to that. Um, and Amanda said, well, do I still count my other side personalities, me, myself, and I hat? Okay. That's fair. I get that. Uh, let's see. Robin said, I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel to launching. I love it. I love it. Um, and Heather said, my husband will tell you it is all about me. I love it. I love it. Uh, and then Michelle said, "Oh, light bulb moment. Headed to my website to search the word we." Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Um, let's see. Let's see. Anna, Anna or Anna. So I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Anna, I'm going to say that's what it is. I'm discombobulated at the moment that I needed help. This camp will definitely narrow down my past by hearing Joshua's advice and hearing everyone here. Thank you all. Yes, I always say I will give you my opinion at any given time when you ask me. But what I've loved about our travel marketeer community is that they're not afraid to share what's going on with them. And I think that I mean, that is just something that there's a lot of communities where people are showing off. I'm sure you might even belong to some like Facebook communities where it's a travel advisor related community, and everybody's showing off. And I'm sorry, I look at some of those posts, of course, not in any of our Facebook groups, but in some of the ones that are outside of our network. I'm like, I know that that person does not have all of their stuff together. People walk around like their stuff is not smelly. I'm sorry that if it smells like a duck, I'm sorry. That's not true. But in the travel marketeers, though, very honest, very open, and what I have seen time and time again since we started our sessions, which I think started back in May of last year. Wow, we're about to hit an anniversary. Um, is I've seen people share things that help others feel better about what position they're in right now. So if you feel discombobulated, just getting started, or you're on a mission, I know you're going to find people in this community that will help you. And by the by, if you have not yet gone to joined our Facebook group for travel marketeers, so go to Facebook and search travel marketeers, not travel marketeering. Okay, travel marketeers. You will find our Facebook group, and I'd love for you to join and chat it up in there. Okay. Anyway, so want to get on to getting back to the field guide here. All right. So, what would be really helpful right now is for you if you've created a brand guide, maybe you did it in Canva. There's a feature in Canva where you can create a brand guide. I'd love for you to pull that up, or if maybe you've worked with a designer who created a brand guide for you, or you just have different elements that you use, your color palettes, fonts, things like that. Open them up on the screen while you're watching and we're chatting here, because just surrounding yourself in your brand while we're having this conversation might trigger some aha moments for you. And if you haven't built any of these things, no worries, no worries, it's fine. But get those out, surround yourself with it. Open up your Facebook page, open up your Instagram page, open up your, did I say website already? Just open up anything that really is demonstrating your brand, even your agent profiler or advisor showcase on worldvia.com. Have everything up, have loads of windows open, because it really truly is about your brand. Okay. So let's talk about your brand purpose. So your brand purpose, according to the field guide here, is the core reason your startup exists. And it might not be a startup because you've been in business for a while, but what is the core reason your business exists beyond which I toured the country on our road show this year with a stack of fake $100 bills to remind everybody that it is about the money. But when we're talking about your brand purpose, it's beyond generating a profit here. So when you describe what your purpose is for being in business, it should embody the values, mission, and the vision that is guiding your companies or really your actions, decisions, and communication. So it's your way to communicate the difference in your competitors. Okay. Now, very, very easy to do when you are a consumer brand, right? We are the most sexy fitting jeans in the industry, right? Very, very easy to do that from a consumer perspective, or something like Dyson and their constant story of innovation. A little bit different when you are competing, healthy competition, right? You're competing with other human beings, right? This is being in travel is very, very consultative. So you're defining your purpose as a brand, okay, which is helping you communicate that point of view that you have. Um, where I find people will struggle with this the most is when they take a very dumbed down view of the service that they actually provide to the world. So if you view what you do as what somebody else on this camp does, right? Um, it makes it much harder for you to start to paint with those broader brand strokes, if that makes sense. At the end of the day, here we're in a group, we're in camp with a bunch of travel advisors, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, sorry, um, and it could sound like you're trying to be something that you're not. Again, going back to imposter syndrome, right? So it can seem like something that you're not when you're talking about how you are different in your perspective in the world. When you know deep down that everybody takes inquiries and does a consultation with their client and then works with supplier partners to fulfill that request. We all know the mechanics of selling travel, but each of you brings something different to the table. And your brand purpose is really that foundation for your strategic decision making, shaping your brand identity, and really helping to solidify who you are in the marketplace. Now that sounds, I would use that language for any company. And it's in the field guide, exactly how I said it, right? It's in the field guide because I would say that for any business. But when we think about uh, the marketplace, don't necessarily think about it as every travel advisor in the world. Don't go there. Think about it in the terms of your audience, the people who find out about your company. Is it really clear for them to understand what your perspective is? Not only what you sell, but what your take is on what you sell. Okay. So a lot of theory there. Oops, I realized my chat was so sorry. I just had to scroll to get caught up on the chat, and I see that the my stacks of fake $100 bills got some love there. Yeah, I had these big stacks of $100 bills, fake ones, and they did look real. But I sat them on every table, and it was almost like one of those behavioral experiments because they were sat on the table when you walked in to the roadshow, and and most people did not touch it. Very small percentage of the people did. And then towards the end of the day, I explained that it's always to keep your eye on the money. Okay. Separate lesson, but yeah, sorry to derail us there. So I wanted to give you some real world examples, and these are examples that I that are will be that are in the field guide, and you will get to see. But just go with me now, just listen, and think about, do you have a brand purpose? If I asked you right now, what is your brand purpose? What would you say? Okay. So let's look at some real world examples. So Apple, okay? Apple, one of the queens of the brand, okay? Because let's just say they were brilliant in the way that they built their brand and how it evolved. And now their brand influences so many of the brands that we interact with on a daily basis, whether they're consumer products or their apps. Wow. They really, that's quite, it's quite a story. So you always hear Apple brought up with any kind of branding conversation. But let's listen to let me tell you what their brand purpose is. So their brand purpose is to empower people through technology by creating innovative, user user-friendly products that enhance their lives. They focus on simplicity, design, and seamless user experience, inspiring their customers to think different. Steve Jobs is famous for this think different statement, and he used it to motivate his team. And then also it became this battle cry, I'm gonna say, for the Apple customer. So think different. And anyway, you know, this is a very big, bold statement. Is Sissy's travel agency gonna talk with such grandiose language? Maybe not. But can Sissy actually, and Sissy's in the call, just so you know, or she's in camp, sorry. So I'm calling on her. Could she define her, does she have a brand purpose that sounds as eloquent or as this, right? She might know what she does and who she does it for, but can she distill it down to this kind of a brand purpose story? And I see Connie's giving Sissy a TM there. Love it. All right, let's look at Nike. Okay. Again, another brand. And let me just do a little, when we talk about visual identity a little bit later. Apple has an apple with a chunk out of it, one color, right? Not fancy colors, right? Just one color. And then Nike has a swoosh. And these are the simplest logos out there, yet they always come up in any kind of brand conversation for beacons of the perfect brand. Just saying, you know, doesn't have your logo does not have to be complicated to be effective. All right, so Nike's brand purpose is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Their mission statement, if you have a body, you are an athlete. And that promotes inclusivity and encourages people to lead active, healthy lifestyles. Okay, there's a lot packed into that, right? And you know, I know teams of people worked on these purpose statements and mission statements. Um, and I don't, this is not, is this exercise, let me just break it down. Is this exercise going to put more money in your pocket? Not directly, okay? But If you can answer this question today, then kudos to you. If you've got a brand purpose, if you don't have this brand purpose, solidifying your brand purpose today will help you make decisions. It's almost like the bylaws of your brand. It helps you make decisions as to what your brand will do, what your brand won't do, what type of clients you take on. It really does help you lay this foundation for what you're going to do in the future, and then you can move faster. If any of you have tried to work with a freelancer or a design company to build your website, okay? And listen, I am all about good design. You definitely have to have your website published, right? And I have hired many, many people over the years to build websites, and now I build them myself. Um, but I say but I meant but. Uh, but you, every time you finally make the decision to hire someone, and there's an expense to that, right? Building it yourself makes it easy. You know, you're in the driver's seat. You don't have to, you're not parting with a lot of money. It's your time you're giving up. But what I have found is when you finally make the decision to hire an agency or an individual to do your website for you, where that project falls down is you haven't done the work on your brand, and that designer is not going to do that work for you. They have to know what your purpose is, what your brand is all about in order for them to do great work. People who are frustrated most of the time, people who are frustrated with the freelancers that they work with on building their website are more frustrated with themselves because they don't understand why this person who builds website can't write all the copy for their website and make it sound like they want it to sound. Well, they can't get inside your head. And if you haven't answered these questions, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. So, all this work that we're talking about, it may sound so elemental, it may sound remedial in some cases. However, I would hazard to guess maybe 85% of you could not write out your brand's purpose. You could write out who your target customer is, what products you sell, but I don't think you could write a sentence about what your brand purpose is. Okay. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's see here. Peggy dropped this in the chat. She said, I've been working on my brand statement, but would love your thoughts on this, Josh. I like this, Peggy. Can I call you Peg? You called me Josh? I'm just joking. I'm joshing with you. I'm absolutely joshing with you. Yes, please drop that in the chat. I'd love Peggy to look at your brand statement. Let's see. Robin said, I can't wait to read this. I just hired someone who did a good job. He did an extensive interview about my purpose and other info. His copy is great. Probably uses AI, but it's good. Hey, don't knock AI. I love our content generator and WorldVia Pro. And I'm just going to let you know there's something really cool about to happen with all that. You heard it here first, and I will deny it if it ever comes out in public. Sorry, got distracted there. Robin, what I love about what you said, and you helped solidify what I was trying, the point I was trying to make is your person that you hired was perfect for you because he knew that he needed to extract this information out of you, and any good designer is going to do that. They're going to ask you, even in the consultation process, they're going to say, do you have a brand guide? And maybe you have colors and fonts and things like that and images, right? But then they're going to ask you, can you tell me your brand story? What's your mission statement? They're going to get into those things. So it sounds like he extracted what he needed to, and I love that he did the copy for you. And copy, we're going to use that a lot. Copy is, some people will say it's the verbiage, it's the text, it's the words that sell. So it's any writing that you use in the branding and marketing uh, world, it's called copy, which sounds very, oh, I'm a newspaper guy. When will you have that copy for me? And that's where it comes from. Okay. So we will say copy. So anyway, I'm glad he did the copy for you. A lot of designers won't do that. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later because there's everyone has a different impression or expectation when it comes to how much copy someone might do for you when they're building a website, or even how much copy is needed, and the difference between your website pages and your blog pages. I'm sorry, I could totally get derailed on that. So let me just go down here. Lilith said, "Is brand purpose similar to mission statement?" So I'm glad that you asked the question. I'm glad to clarify it. They're going to work together, okay? So Nike, the example I gave you was a good one. So the brand purpose is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Okay? So that's the brand purpose, right? That purpose could go for centuries, right? I mean, it fits. It's not just a right now thing. And think about so many stories with travelpreneurs. They get started in one niche and then break off and or evolve their brand into or their niche into something else. Okay, so their brand purpose is not the niche because that could evolve and change. Laura, who said she had to use her Marriott points to get out of the house so she could dive into camp. I know for a fact she evolved her brand. She started one way and she went another way, and now she's branching off into some other areas. So her brand purpose, though, at its core, is probably would remain the same. If she established it early on, it's probably about the same. I don't know if she worked on the brand purpose, but I'm just saying it would stay the same because this Nike one, their purpose, bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. What that works for 1985 to 2025, right? Now, their mission statement is, and here we're on a mission. They didn't say that. I'm just saying that. If you have a body, you are an athlete. So the mission statement is really conveying this perspective that they had. And then what that statement does, their mission statement does, is that promotes inclusivity and encourages people to lead healthy, active lifestyles. Okay. So I love that. So something so simple. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine or 10. Sorry, my eyes got a little cross-eyed there. 9 or 10 words, they were able to convey uh, inclusivity and encourages people to live active, healthy lifestyles. So these are the things, and I will say too, when you are working on your brand purpose, this isn't just a build it and then you never touch it again, right? You shouldn't be changing it all the time. If you are, then you didn't quite land on something that felt good. It's okay to change. It's definitely okay to change, but that would indicate that you didn't quite find the thing that you loved, but at least you were constantly thinking about it and trying to enhance it. The landing on something that fits where you are today and where you are in 3 years, that's going to take time. It's going to take time. This isn't something that you can just knock out super, super fast, but it is something that you will know it feels right when it flows off your tongue. Have you ever written something? I was very guilty of this. And now I'm not going to remember her name. My senior English teacher, the only dream I still have about high school is that you had to pass senior English or you would not pass, you wouldn't graduate. And I had such a fear that I was not going to pass that senior English class. Okay. And you had to write something. I can't remember what the project was. And that was like the biggest part of your grade. And I was so terrified about it. That's the only thing I dream about still to this day. But I always defaulted to writing like I would for that teacher. So it was not how I spoke, and it isn't how anyone spoke, really. It was the way that we were taught English way back in whatever it was, right? So, so it was like double space after a period. Oh my gosh. I mean, these are the things that's how I wrote. And then through my marketing and branding journey, I realized I needed to stop trying to write like somebody else. I needed to write like a real human being, right? And once I did, my copy got better. It was more effective. So when you are writing some of these, even if they're not customer facing, these brand elements, if you're when you're writing them, don't try to put on your senior English teacher's rules about writing. Guess what? We don't indent for a paragraph anymore. We don't. We don't do double spaces after a period. It just isn't the way. If you look at any copy anywhere, they're not doing that. So don't write like your senior English teacher. And now I cannot believe I cannot remember her name. If that comes to me, Douglas County High School. I'm just saying she worked there. Anyway, sorry, I derailed as I often do. Okay, so Peggy is now giving us her brand statement. And I'm going to pop it up here. And let's see here. Taking the stress out of travel planning to bring the joy of travel to Gen X women. Okay, Peggy, I like how specific you are here. I am going to, and I know that you dropped this in before I went down the little rabbit hole that I just went down. So, what I'd ask you to do in thinking about or tweaking this a little bit is, does this statement apply to you in 10 years, or will you have evolved in a different way, or will you still be serving just Gen X? Um, And I guess the other piece would be, if you lead with taking the stress out, and believe me, I've heard it so many times with different mission statements or brand stories. If you lead with taking the stress out, you're leading with a negative, right? That is what you do. All of you do that, okay? You all take the stress out. But most of your customers don't even know that it can be stressful. They don't know until they know, right? And when they know, that you don't have to tell them again. So I I love in terms of a brand purpose, bring the joy of travel and is this single women? Is this family women, or is it just women? It just needs to be women, right? Figure out that more broader purpose statement that then helps you make strategic decisions around your brand and your business. But also as you grow, maybe your network of your team that supports you in telling your story helps them understand where what the purpose of this brand is. So you're onto something here. I would say that for all of you, don't make the negative the challenge. That's the challenge. In most brand stories, they're always going to talk about the challenge. In travel, what I have seen work, and you could always prove me wrong, but what I've seen work more times than not is the outcome that you want your clients to have, that they want to have, leading with that so they can automatically see you're the right fit for the joy that they're trying to get to. Okay. And then use other ways to talk about how you remove stress. Okay. This is just, again, my opinion. You don't necessarily need to change anything, but I'm just giving you my opinion that if you lead with taking the stress out, if I did not even think that stress was involved in planning travel, you now just put something in my head to worry about. Okay. So how can you get creative and address the taking the stress out? I would love to see that. Let's see. Oh, and Heather said, I use AI every day. I love it. So do I. And I'm using it for things that actually, it was about 3 years ago, someone asked me on a panel to talk about AI. And I knew of AI. I didn't know how I would use it, right? And I remember talking about it in a way I'm very consistent in my views. I said no matter what tools make it easier for me to brand and market, I, the human piece has to be in there, right? So you're always going to need to look at the outputs and make sure it fits. You don't trust it blindly, right? So fast forward to, gosh, I want to say it was about a year ago. I was with Michael, the CMO at Alma Waterways, and I've known her now for a few years. But we were having lunch together, or no, we were at a general session at a conference, and she sat down next to me, and you guys got to know. If you don't know Jason Block, the CEO of WorldVia, and the person who I've been fortunate to work with for the last almost 8 years, he's very technology driven. He has a passion for it in a way that I would never have. I don't have that passion. It's not in me. In fact, one Monday he came in after he had built an app, which now is WorldVia Pro, just so you know. He built it on a weekend. I'm sure he'd been working on it for a while, but he shows me it on the Monday. And I just looked at him and I was like, this is brilliant. Did you build computers when you were a child? And I had a little chuckle. And then he said, well, yes, I actually did. So very, very tech savvy. Anyway, the story goes this way. We're getting ready for this general session. We're about to eat and the show's about to start. And Michael says, so what kind of AI tools are you using? And I looked at her and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, Jason Block, stay away from me. Why is everybody following me around with the AI?" And so I said, "Well, we've got our own AI tools, which we had at that time. But I don't know that I really lean in on it." And she gave me some tools that she uses, Perplexity and Gamma, which helps build PowerPoint presentations. And I was just blown away because even the brand Alma Waterways, I don't think they're so classic that using AI, of course, it makes your job easier, but I don't know. I wouldn't have expected Michael to tell me that she's using these tools. And then I go back to my office and I said, well, she uses it. I've got to use it. So I go in and I use it and I am blown away. I thought Grammarly, the Grammarly app that helps you write better and is looking for ways that you can enhance your writing, that was that's such a game changer for me. But using tools like Perplexity and some things that might be coming down the pike, I'm just saying it was a secret. Poops, it just fell out of my mouth. Anyway, using some of these tools, yes, the human is still going in and tweaking these things, but what I've realized it was doing for me, in particular Perplexity, is when I would visit a website or when I would research something, anything, right? I would go to multiple websites and I would look at images and I do this. Well, in this Perplexity tool, it does all that for me. And when I look at something, it whether it's research or it's writing copy, it's it's good stuff. Yes, I have to tweak it. Yes, I have to read through it. It's not doing it all for me, but man, I am learning faster, I'm producing more, and I'm seeing results. Boom, boom, boom. I'm good with that. I'll take it. So anyway, I'm glad, Heather, you use AI every day. Very, very happy with that. And I do too. I now do, and now I even use it for reporting. I'm using it in so many different ways, or I'm even factoring in when I'm writing copy for websites. I'm thinking not only about keyword phrases that were the traditional thing that you would work into your copy for Google to serve up your page in an organic search, but I'm also thinking about the stories that someone might stumble upon through researching something completely different, that could ultimately lead them to buying my products and services. So it's a oh baby baby, it's a wild world. Yeah, it's a wild world. Wow. Okay, one song down. I haven't been doing that on these Saturday sessions, but maybe because it's afternoon, I'm coming alive there. Let's see. Oh, Dawn, speaking of AI, Dawn, I love this for you. She said, I just asked ChatGPT what my brand purpose is, and I got a great starting point. Brilliant. Brilliant. Guys, if you have not used ChatGPT or Perplexity, look for both of them. Go in and ask the question, what is the brand purpose for, and then put your company name in there. If you've actually had a web presence and you've published your site, that right there will have it go and look at your website or look at maybe other mentions of your company out on the web, if there are any out there, and it will drill down something that, like Don said, a great starting point. And if it is scrolling through, searching through content that's on the web, and it comes up with a certain answer, that might be eye-opening for you, that you didn't realize that through the copy you wrote, even though you weren't intentionally writing a brand purpose, this is what AI determined what your brand purpose is. And that might be spot on or it might not be. And it's a great opportunity for you to tweak. I love, love, love brand work because if you're doing it in a space like this, when you're doing it at Travel Marketeer Camp, right? You are not constricted by these guardrails. When you're creating marketing to generate interest in a group sailing that you're doing in the Mediterranean, right? For August, okay? You've got to make that thing happen. When you start doing the brand work, you're doing broad strokes, you're doing it at a very high level, but it does enable you to explore some ideas. Maybe deal with something that's been lurking in the background that you're not happy with, and tweak that up a little bit. Or it might be that opportunity to stretch a little bit further. Like I said, working on the brand purpose is a way that you can start to create the rules of the road, how you're going to show up in the world. So all of this work that we're doing here and working on the brand, there's no right or wrong. I can share with you how I get there, um, or how I've seen other people get there. It is about your journey. And to me, it's the most fun part of building a company or enhancing a company. I love, love, love doing this. It's not the place that I want to stay in all the time because guess what? The money is not there. I don't have a business if I'm not making any money. Okay. So don't get me wrong. I don't want to just play with colors and fonts all day. I don't want to just like be in Canva all day. That's not what I'm talking about here, but I do love creating this entity that I am so happy to attach myself to, that brings me joy, helps me do serve the world in the way that I want to serve it. I don't know. It's brilliant. Can I get a TM for anybody who really likes working on their brand? That's what I'd like to hear right now. Anyway, Don, thank you so much for sharing that. Um, and Dr. Rosa said MS Microsoft Copilot is great. Yes, it is. Um, let's see. Melissa said, my website is being built right now by Suitcase Designs, who is amazing. He is also a travel professional, so he knows what we need. Melissa, you just gave Suitcase Designs a nice plug in the Travel Marketeer Camp. Love it, love it, love it. But I love that you feel comfortable with your decision, you're happy with your decision, because it always hurts my heart. I know I get dramatic, it hurts my heart, but it does because the mistake of hiring, taking forever to make the decision to hire a design company to build my website, and then realizing that I hadn't done the work so they could actually complete the project. I knew I had done that, but I have met so many agency owners who went through this, are going through the same thing right now. So I'm really glad that you found somebody that you're happy with, and good job there. Laura said, I would say the brand purpose is the same for her company. So I mentioned Laura earlier and how she was morphing her niche and the types of the clients. She really drilled into the clients that she was trying to serve, products that she wanted to sell. So she said, I would say that my brand purpose is the same, but I was not intentional about setting a purpose when I started. So it wasn't, so something, so here's kudos to Laura. Again, any of you who are sharing, where you're at right now, or some of the learnings that you uncovered through your journey, that's very vulnerable, and I love it. Again, this goes back to the travel marketeer community. I love it. I love it. I love it because, yes, we're all in the same business, but there is room for everybody. There is room for everybody. So, Laura, thank you for being honest. But I love that she can acknowledge that she wasn't intentional about setting her brand purpose. It happened, and she is happy with it. It is staying the same, and that's the beautiful thing. It can happen this way, but I would say not necessarily knowing all the decisions Laura had to make, or is making. Um, Making a decision on brand purpose, mission statement, these different elements of building the brand identity, it does help you move faster in the future, whether it's you making a decision about something, or, like I said, hiring someone out to do something for you, whether it's a copywriter, a web designer, a social media manager, any of those things. Having some of these things defined to where every project that you start is not oh, well, let's reimagine the brand. And that's a little pro tip right there. I just need to say that if you do get to the point, maybe you built everything on your own and you start hiring marketing designer professionals, and they want to reinvent your brand as their project, and that's not what you hired them for, just say, wait, they don't love you like I love you, because guess what? That is not what I hired you for. I would love your ideas, but let me share with you what my brand is today and what it means to me. And let's work on this project. And then where it evolves, it evolves. But we're not going to stop the presses and reinvent my brand when my brand that I built is what got me to the point where I hired you. Wow, I got a little sassy there. I apologize for that. Um, let's see here. I'm going to move on. Oh, I got a musical note. So, was that no song number two? It wasn't really a song. I kind of talked through it. Let's see. Carrie Ann said, it sounds like their mission statement is, and I love this. Thank you for bringing it back to our point here with Nike. Their mission statement is a you statement, not a we statement. They made it about their clientele. They absolutely did. And they did it in a way that the company, so think if you were a new hire at Nike and you heard the purpose and you heard their mission statement, you can start to really understand what that company sees as important and priorities. And it is something that you can aspire to be a part of and connect to. And everybody's different. I worked at a theme park. I worked at Six Flags Over Georgia when I turned 16. And the mission statement back then in 1989, maybe, was that traditional corporate mission statement, um, that it stated the values. I mean, it was long. There's no way that you would remember I don't remember it to this day. But it did sit in the conference room wherever we met. It was there. So you were surrounded by it, but I don't think it had any heart. I don't think it connected with anything. And you are not building something for 200 employees. You're building it for you and for the people that maybe it's even family members that might join your company and be a part of your story. What would be something that is is easy for them to say, but really is authentically you, right? Find that, and if when it feels right, it will definitely feel right. Okay. So I do like so yes, thank you, Carrie Ann. I love that. Um, let's see here. Heather said yes to English and graduating. I still dream that I didn't graduate because I passed by only 1 point. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Carrie Ann said double space after period forever. No, you are now banned from camp. You now have a demerit. Your house now has a demerit on you. You can't have a double space after a period. Let's see. Melissa said, "Wait, who changed the rules?" Oh my goodness. And Shaban. Oh, they will never take my Oxford comma away from me. Okay, guys, little tip here. If you don't know what an Oxford comma is, please look it up. Okay. An Oxford comma is the comma before and. Okay. Especially when you're listing more than just, two things that you're putting and between, but just three or more, right? It's not it's called the Oxford comma because that's a part of those Oxford rules. But if you know, you know. And even my good friend Grammarly, I love that app. She knows to always have that Oxford comma there and calls it out when I need it and when I don't need it. Yeah, just I love it, Siobhan. I'm with you. I'm with you there. All right. And Rebecca, oh, I love Miss Rebecca. She said, as a former high school English teacher for 25 years. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I love you guys. All right. So, uh, so something that I'm going, if you haven't done this before, I'm, so it's going to be in the field guide that you get. I've linked off to Simon Sinek's TED Talk, where he talked about starting with why. Okay. Very, very powerful talk. It's been around for a while, and he's written several books, and you might see him on TikTok or wherever you do your social mediaing. Um, but it's a really thought-provoking talk on starting with why. Why are you doing this? Now, your why could be, I'm doing this because I want to uh, develop a business that will support me and my family. And that's definitely a why for why you are doing what you're doing. But from a company perspective, uh, ask why the company, which is you, why are you doing this? And that is going to uncover some things. It's going to help you figure out. Um, it's going to help you answer that question a lot faster. So I'll have a link to it in the field guide. I don't want you to leave me right now because we're only at the halfway point. So I don't want you to leave me now, but I do have that linked in here along with some more examples around the brand purpose and within the brand guide, I've got some of the questions. So let me give you some of the questions that I would use to help you flesh out your brand purpose. So, and this is also very much tied into your why. Okay, so first question is, aside from trying to sell a product or a service, why do we do what we do? Okay, so aside from trying to sell a product or service, why do we do what we do? Who or what are we making a commitment to? So this is a time to list main groups of people who are impacted by your brand. And in a large company it could be shareholders, right? Um, and if you've got a team of people, you've got your staff to include in there. But you can start to look at your customers and what do they look like. And I'll go back to Peggy, I believe it was Peggy now, who was giving the example where she was calling out Gen X, which is her ideal client, female Gen Xers. Okay, that is her ideal client, and I'm not taking that away from you with my comments about would this be the same 10 years from now? But if you could take what a Gen Xer female, the energy around her, what would that be? And help make that how you define that group, who you serve, who you're making a commitment to. It just might help you figure out how to hone in on who you're serving because that Gen Xer, yes, she's always going to be a Gen Xer, but some of her choices might change in life. And are the products that you deliver to her today going to stay the same in the future? These are just questions, okay? So if you see yourself in the same situation, um, factor that in. Um, so what are we going to do? Concretely, what will you offer, deliver, or provide to your customers? Okay. And this is where, when I was talking about the outcome, what you are actually giving them. Working with you, yes, you take the stress out of the situation, but they weren't searching for someone to take the stress out of a situation. They were searching for someone who would deliver an amazing European experience with a family, something like that. Okay. So concretely, what will you offer, deliver, or provide to your customers? And then how are you going to do it? How do you plan to deliver on the promises you make? And will you provide additional services to help deliver on that promise? Okay. So those are just some questions to get you thinking. Aside from trying to sell a product or service, why do we do what we do? What are we making a commitment to? What are we going to do? And how are we going to do it? All of these questions, you don't have to answer them to build this brand purpose. But if you can answer them and distill that down into a brand purpose, and ultimately a mission statement, I mean, that is huge. Okay. And I wish that I had brought water out here into my garage studio, aka the campground, because now I've been talking for a while. I am getting a little little dry. Can you guys bear with me for 1 second? Can you talk amongst yourselves while I get a lozenge? Okay. Yes, you do that. Oh, and you know what? I don't even have a lozenge with me. That's fantastic. You know what? I do. I have my handy dandy office pack that I travel with, and I have one lozenge. Now, if you guys ever have to do speaking gigs, I don't think it works well for a cold, but if you are feeling a little funny in your throat, this show is not brought to you by Ricola. There we go. These throat balm lozenges, oh, oh my God, they're slap your mama good. I'm telling you. Um, all right. So now I'm going to do the thing that's not very professional when you're speaking. I'm going to have a lozenge in my mouth, but you know what? Hey, bear with, right? Okay. Let's see. Man, you guys are chatting it up here. I love it. I love it. Um, uh, Oh, you know what, Carrie Ann? What a great idea. She said, "Sir, let's take a break for 5 minutes so you can get some water. We'll do the same." Oh, Carrie Ann, you're lovely. Thank you. No, please, you guys break. I don't want to break because I know that you guys have a lot of stuff that you want to do. So, well, you know what? you go break, okay? I'm gonna stay here, and you can have me on in the background, or you can take me with you, on your phone, okay? I don't want to break because we got a lot to get through here. I want to talk about brand vision, okay? So with brand, I hope that's okay, Carrie Ann. I don't want to disappoint you. All right, but thank you. And thank you for calling me sir. That makes me think of Lulu's song, To Sir with Love. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, wow. This is a lot here this morning or this afternoon. All right, so let's talk about your brand vision. So if your purpose is the why, the vision is the what. So what if you stay committed to that purpose, okay? What will be the outcome of it? And that's really this vision that you have. So I've got a list of uh, the brand, the essential reasons. Uh, well, sorry, I'm going to back that up. I'm going to give you why having a vision is essential for your business. So first, we talked about it a little bit with the purpose. It gives you strategic direction. Uh, it the vision gives you that roadmap for your company's future and guiding the long-term planning. Okay. Um, it gives inspiration and motivation, right? If I have a vision for where we're going, then that's going to help me get out of bed some days when I really do not want to strap it on and tackle the world. Okay. Can I get a TM for anybody that has that little struggle in the morning sometimes, right? Um, let's see what's happening here. Yes, I got some TMs going here. Yeah, so you need that motivation, and people will say people who are not entrepreneurs just really annoy me because they're like, oh, it's so great that you're an entrepreneur. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's hard work. It is very hard work. And yes, the rewards, it's so rewarding, but it is a hard slog to be an entrepreneur. And I don't humor me with that statement. It's very, very hard. So my brand vision sometimes makes me do things that I don't want to do. And the one of the things that I think having that vision of your brand really helps you do is how many people do not like being on video? You don't like being on video. You want to wait for the phone to ring for or an inquiry to come in so you could tell the world how knowledgeable you are. And guess what? You're going to get the phone calls and the inquiries if you actually put it out there in the world. So if I have my vision of what I want to be, what I want to be when I grow up, um, that can sometimes make you do the things. I'm going to tell you something that might blow your mind. All right, are you ready for it? I hate looking at myself. Okay, I know you're just blown away. You're like, he will get in front of a camera. It is a joke at my office. They're like, oh, are we having picture day again? Oh, I'm on video. I will do let me do a story real quick. Hey, y'all, I'm in Vienna. I hate looking at myself. Okay, I do it because I have a vision of what I want to be doing. And I want to reach as many entrepreneurs as I can and share my missteps and help net build a network of entrepreneurs that can share and help each other grow. Because I really took on early on, if you're not growing, you're dying. So I don't want to be dying. I want to be growing, and I want everyone else around me to grow too. So what makes me hit record, what makes me hit publish, what makes me bless and release some things that that I'm pretty mortified by sometimes is I can't I can't keep the story to myself. I have to make sure that it has an opportunity to be discovered by the person who needs to hear that. So then all those things can come together. Okay. So record, publish is very much tied to the inspiration, motivation I get from the brand vision. That's my brand vision of me as a human being. And in my role as Chief Revenue Officer, it's it's in that brand vision of WorldVia. So when I am if I'm doing anything, I want you to know, especially if it involves a costume. I'm going to tell you, I will wear flamboyant things, but I do not like a costume. And I bet many of you have seen me in costumes, and I want you to know that that's that brand vision speaking, because it is not me to do that. It is not me, but it is. I know that it's the right thing or it fits the scenario. So I don't know. I just let you in. You might now hate me and you might now disconnect from camp. You don't even want to attend the rest of the camp. But I wanted to be real with you that is that motivation. Um, let's see. Siobhan said, I hate costumes. Hubby calls me no fun at Halloween when I won't join in on the family costume. Okay, I love you, Siobhan, for that because again, I know I keep talking about Jason, but just so you guys know, really, I found my person to be in business with because he just gets me and I think we've done some really cool things together. We are two very different people. And while he is not the person who's like, look at me, he loves a costume. And he is the reason why, if you went to World 2021 at Caesar's Palace, I was in a Elvis Presley circa 1970 something jumpsuit with rhinestones, singing Viva Las Vegas. He is the reason for that. Not because I thought I could sing that or I wanted to wear that costume. It was because from his brand vision, costumes are very important. Anyway, sorry, moving on. So why is it it's essential to have that brand vision? So we talked about strategic direction, inspiration, motivation, and then differentiation, right? That vision is how you separate from the pack. I could have Rebecca, who's on the call right now. I could have Laura, who's on the call right now, and I could have them side by side, right? And while they are agency owners, they have very different businesses. They have very different brand personas. I'm not even talking about, again, I'm not talking about fonts and logos. I'm not talking about that. As individuals, of course, they're uniquely themselves, which is how we at our core differentiate our business. If we are aligned with our business, it is automatically going to be differentiated between from other travel agencies, right? It's when we separate ourselves from the business that all of a sudden it can get a little washed down, or watered down, sorry. Um, so but having that vision, sorry, having that vision does help you differentiate yourself from your competitors or someone who does things essentially like you. Okay. Rebecca and Laura, you have two totally different businesses. So I just used you because you guys were the people that stuck in my mind. But at your core, you're agency owners. So if someone was being extremely literal, they say, "Oh, here's two agency owners." Yeah, but I can tell you, worlds apart in terms of who they are as individuals and the magic that they create. They both create magic. It's not the same magic. And that is a beautiful thing. That is why I love okay, I'm gonna get misty eye here. Don't get look, I'm about to cry because I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I'm in the travel business. Oh wow, that really got me. All right, stop it. Stop it. Brand. We're on brand. Sorry. Whew. Man. Uh, all right, sorry, I need to get back together. Okay. So brand vision also helps with customer, the connection between you and the customer. I get to follow so many travel advisors and agency owners across I am, if you guys, these are not, I feel like I'm faking tears, but no, but it does kind of give me a glossy eye. No. Um, I get to follow so many people on social media, and I love because now I've been doing this for a little while. I've watched people evolve over time, and that's always very cool. But it is interesting how a lot of people who I follow today, maybe they're newer to the mix of people that I follow. Um, I I see them trying to be something else, or I see them holding themselves back from being a part of their brand story. And what and while I've got patience and I know everybody has to find their way on this journey, I will say that I have seen over and over again this good work that they're doing. They're creating social media content. However, no one can connect to it. It doesn't feel like something that you could connect to. Now, the people who I have watched evolve, it seems like everyone has connected themselves back to the brand, and now I can get connected to a person. How many people, we've all heard, you buy from a human, not a company. We've all heard it. We do it, we make those choices in our life every single day. But when it's our own business, there's a little bit of a wobble there, and you're not sure, should I be so connected? But having that brand vision where you are very aligned with your business, that helps with that customer connection. Um, Alignment and consistency, having that brand vision means that you're not, I talked about this on Saturday sessions before. It's about evolving your brand and not a revolution. We don't need to change things overnight. We evolve as we grow, as human beings. We grow. Our business grows. We make choices. But having that vision of where we want to be or who we want to be, who we want to show up in the world, that helps us uh, be consistent with our choices. And when we're consistent with our choices, our customers can connect to the story, and you have a piece of their mind. They know exactly where, as humans, we like to categorize everything. So they need to understand where you fit. And part of where you fit might be that you're so dynamic, and it's unexpected what comes from you, right? As long as that's what you've established in the way you've been communicating your brand purpose, your brand vision, your brand, how your brand shows up, then you do you. That's you. But if you've been very classical, very wood panel and whiskey, okay, and then all of a sudden you're neon and pink and sparkles, right? Um, that means our brain can't process that. The world can't process that. So how do you bridge, if you wanted to bridge this, how do you go from wood panel and whiskey to pink sparkles? There is a way to do it. It can't be an overnight change. So got to be very intentional about your choices here. Um, the culture and values. So brand vision shapes the company's culture and values. And does that really, if you're a solopreneur and you're a business of one, right? Is culture and values important for you to establish? We always hear that when you're interviewing for a company, what is the company culture like, right? I want to know what I'm getting into, right? Um, it yes, when you are a company and you have team members, there's a culture. Um, there are values that you share. But I look at this, especially as a solopreneur, as again that alignment between you as a human being and the brand steward. So how your culture, how you treat people, how your the values that are important to you, those should be a part of your brand vision. It shouldn't be something so foreign to you or something that you're putting on. It should be one and the same. And with the great thing, and I can say this about everybody who's on the call, you're all phenomenal people. Okay? Embrace it, love it, and figure out if you haven't figured it out already, figure out how to connect yourself back to the brand. All right. So, and then when we look at these big companies that we all interface with on a regular basis, the brand vision that got them started, gave them the motivation, gave them the consistency, all the things, right? The connection, those are the things that made them great. And give them some longevity, giving them it helps them get more money from you because they're now this trusted brand for you. You understand them, you know them, they're a part of your world. Um, that came from having a vision. Um, and you can also see the companies that you know don't have a vision. They might be a hot commodity right now, but they fizzle out over time. And for whatever reason, they lost sight of their vision. They lost sight of their purpose. And a lot of turnaround stories come from real basic brand work, coming in and saying, okay, this is falling apart. Why is it falling apart? When back in the day, back in the 1920s, we were on fire. Why were we on fire back then? And, doing that work, it's important. So I know this is a lot of talking. I know this is a lot of kicking around ideas in your head. But it's important work because once you know who you are, it is very easy for you to make decisions in the future and guide all of your brand work and your your marketing tactics. Okay, so I want to give you some real world examples of brand vision. Okay, and sorry, I'm now kicking around that lozenge in my mouth. Um, so what I love about this example is, sorry, I've got my papers all messed up here. So what I love about this example is I think this really illustrates um, what how the vision is different from that brand purpose or even a mission statement. Hold on a second. I got my papers all a mess here. Um, all right. So Google, all right. Google's brand vision is to provide access to the world's information in one click. They aim to make information universally acceptable, accessible, useful, and empowering for everyone, fostering innovation and improving lives through technology. Okay? That's the vision. So look at this vision as with the company in the world with its purpose, right? This is what the world looks like, or this is what their company looks like in this world. So it illustrates with one click having access to the world's information. All right. Now, their brand vision, now Google has definitely gone into so many different directions, but for the main part of this, as they acquired YouTube, and I can't remember when they did that. That was a while ago. But YouTube, for the most part, has maintained the number two search engine position for a very long time. Okay, and think about it. You go and look for videos to answer certain questions, and then you go to Google to ask other questions, right? But that was a decision that aligned with their vision. So I love that example. And then Coca-Cola's brand vision is to craft the brands and choice of drinks that people love, to refresh them in body and spirit, and to inspire moments of optimism and happiness. So with both of those examples, I hope you heard it in me describing it there. There is something that you can truly imagine about working or their brand. So it isn't their driving force. It isn't the purpose for them to be in business, but it is the vision of what their brand delivers, right? So you can see how some of these things kind of weave into each, or they don't kind of, they do weave into each other, but they can all stand alone in their own space. So think about that with your brand. Again, these are all things that are behind the scenes, but they help you make the choices of like what words to use when you're writing copy. Somebody who is trying to provide access to the world's information in one click is going to use different words. They're gonna have a different perspective than the person who is trying to craft the brands and choice of drinks that people love to refresh them in body and spirit and to inspire moments of optimism and happiness. So, I hope, can I get a TM if you're seeing how you might not know necessarily how to do this, but can you see how they start to build upon each other? Okay. And this is what I want for your business. Now, sure, all of you could share your brand vision right now in the chat. Okay. This is how we show up in the world. Okay. And this is what we do, right? But and yes, you could just steal somebody else's, another travel marketeers. You could steal theirs, right? If you did that, it wouldn't be authentically you. It might do a better job of saying the things that you want to say, but the way that Carrie Ann might say this is very different from the way that Connie might say this. And and it's okay because again, this is a way that your brand is showing up in the world. Okay. So I love that. I love it. So let's now I got this field guide. I know I'm not trying to oversell the field guide, and I'm not selling you the field guide, guys. You get it. I'm going to give it to you on Monday. But a lot of work went into this, getting this information together. So I want to keep it organized here. But so the things that everything that I've talked about so far is in the field guide. And then there's also some other examples. So I'm looking down because I'm grabbing the things that I want to tell you right now. But there's worksheets attached to every section of what we're talking about, and I do want you to digest it when you get it on Monday. Um, and if you're asking, well, why didn't you give it to me before? Well, the reason why is I didn't want you to skip ahead. I wanted it to flow naturally, and I hope that you're having a good time, and I hope you're having some aha moments, and we're going to get to some aha moments in a little bit. But here's some things to help you develop your brand vision, or at least get you thinking about this. And I don't know if you're like me, but I do, gosh, I really like kick back. I need an ottoman. I'm gonna prop up my feet in a minute. Um, I do brilliant work in the shower. That is, there is something about water and being by myself. I really kick a lot of things around. I love that for an elevator pitch when I'm just running through how would I describe my business or what I do in a short period of time. I just say it over and over again in the shower. The same thing with some of these questions that I've asked you, whether it was about your brand purpose or right now talking about your brand vision. Let these percolate. Don't discount a good percolation. Like you need to let these things kind of sit with you. Laura, you use your reward your Marriott points to sit up in a hotel to do this good work while you're alone, no distractions. Ask yourself these questions and see will you change direction in something maybe you've put into motion? Or would thinking about some of these things and the ideas that percolate, um, help you make some new choices or activate other things or reprioritize things. Okay, so no matter where you're at in your journey, getting started or you've been doing this for a while, just humor me and ask yourself these questions, okay? So number one, what is your company's big audacious goal? What do you want to achieve? Okay, so what is the goal of the company? What is your winning aspiration? Be bold and ambitious. The sky is the limit. Okay. Um, our, I know I said I would tell a story about WorldVia and how the brand came to be. Um, but I'm not going to tell you the whole story right now. But the thing that I will tell you is when we were creating the brand name WorldVia, um, one of the things, and at that time we were just creating uh, a media company to attract travelers. That was the main goal. So it was going to be a blog site with video content, things like that. This is now we're going back to 2017 when this came to be. Um, while this was not a company goal, as we were exploring different ideas for the name of the company, something that we came back to over and over again was, well, what if the company grew into different areas? And some of the names we looked at didn't fit. And one example we use is what if we bought an airline? Look at Virgin. They started as a publishing company and then mobile phones, space travel, airlines, cruises, they did all the things, right? It wouldn't have worked if their name wasn't something that they could apply to all those things. So how we ended up getting to the World Via name is what would that name fit on a tour bus? Would that name fit on for mobile phones? If it followed the Virgin story, could it be a record company? Right? So that was important in creating that brand. Now, your brand doesn't need to, maybe you don't ever want that to happen for your brand, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. But it was a part of our process in building the vision of the company that we would create. And little did we know that a few years later, it would become more than that little blog site. So I'm glad that we had, and not necessarily a big audacious goal, but I'm glad we had that as a part of our vision. How do we make this brand be something that could apply to whatever venture we wanted to take on? And so far, WorldVia has served that purpose. So think about, that's a part of, what are your big goals? Um, what does your company look like in the future? Same type of thing. Is your company, and I said this earlier when I talked about, are you a solopreneur? Is this always going to be your business, or do you have a vision of it growing and becoming an agency with 25 agents in it? That's neither one is right or wrong, but if your vision is to stay, this is your business. You might take on people to assist you, but you're not growing your agency in terms of agents, then you're going to make different choices in the future. But if you're going to be that agency, that larger agency, then you're going to make some other choices, right? So think about, what does your company look like in the future? Um, what needs will your primary customers have in the future? How might their needs evolve? So your customer today might stay with you. And I've heard this so many times with different travel agencies. They get somebody who is a teenager traveling with their parents, and then they get business from them when they want to go on a college trip with their friends. Then when they get married, and then all the way on through their kids traveling. So they get those customers. They weren't necessarily the original customers, but they were part of the traveling group. Become these lifelong customers, and they service them through all these different stages in their life journey. Beautiful thing, isn't it? I just think that it's such a that it makes sense, But I don't know that you think about that when you're first getting started and you're like, I want to sell river cruises down the Danube. You're not necessarily thinking about all the lives that you could impact and then how you could be their advisor of choice for all their future travel. It's a really cool thing. So your primary customers, how will their needs evolve or not evolve? Really depends on what you're what you're selling and what you want to focus on. But think about that. Again, this is all a part of that vision. It's really where the sky's the limit. Just kick out these ideas. And what impact do you want to have? Um, is it an impact on your customers? If you have a team of agents, what is that impact that you want to have? And the community. And think about the community. And this is, again, those of you who know, I had a little health crisis a few years back, and I had no idea that the travel industry was a community that I truly belonged to until I had something going wrong, and I realized that there were tons of people that I mattered to, and that they had a great influence over me and helping me get healthy and happy. I'm healthy and happy. But I'm just saying that's a community, not necessarily the neighborhood I live in, which is Decatur, Georgia, not necessarily that community, but how do you what kind of impact do you want to have on the travel community or your fellow travel marketeers coming back to camp, right? So think about that. And then considering your goals and future state, your target audience, and desired impact, um, create that inspiring vision statement for your brand. Okay, I know it's a lot of writing exercises. I know I'm giving you brand purpose, brand vision, uh, but go with me on this. This will have a huge impact on how you evolve your brand. So, or how you start your brand. Sorry, I forgot. There's many of you starting. So, um, create this inspiring vision statement for your brand um, uh, that it doesn't have to be three sentences, two. There's no rule for this. Okay, just make it easy to identify. Don't meander too much. Don't be like this session of Travel Marketeer Camp where I've meandered a lot. I thank you guys for bearing with me as I do my little um, didos around the topic. I really appreciate you, and I hope that you're getting I hope you're getting some inspiration through the journey here. So easy to identify. Try not to put another thing that I've noticed in the travel industry as advisors and agency owners are building some of these brand elements, they infuse some internal terminology that advisors use with each other. And it's not intentional. It just becomes so a part of our everyday. So make sure you're thinking about the your traveler, your customer. And while this might not be something that you share publicly with the world, this is your guiding vision here. Um, just think about if it was shared with the world. Is it easy to understand, easy to identify? And do keep it short and sweet. This is not a time for a dissertation on why travel is important in the world. And well, I now I say that, but then I could also see how different some of you have brands where I would want to use that. But do think about it being short and sweet. These are some of the guiding brand elements that are going to help you build build your empire as big or as small as you want it, right? These are going to help you, and I know you've got it in you, and I have full faith in you. So let's see here. I've just now um I just I had to shuffle my papers a little bit. Yeah. So if we were to do a retreat, okay? I've got a vision. I've got a brand vision of our travel marketeer camp. uh, and we're having a retreat, and I do think we're in Charleston. We've rented this big house and we're all just hanging out together, talking about all the stuff. I promise I wouldn't carry around pieces of paper. We'd be riffing all the time. But we'd have to stay structured, and that's the important part of this. All right. So I want to jump into, let's see here. Where am I at? Again, you've got tons and tons of information in the field guide on how to craft your vision, uh, uh, your purpose. There's some worksheets or a worksheet on building a mission statement and drilling into your core values. I wanted to spend a lot of time on these foundational elements because when we start to dig into building and crafting some of the marketing elements that sync up into your branding. Um, I want to take some of that work off the table. Like this, we've talked about these things. I know you're going to kick it around. You've been kicking it around since we joined the call right now. And tonight, I want you to be thinking about this. You're building this vision, your mission. So again, the field guide is going to have everything that we talked about and examples. I've got more examples than I shared with you here. So you're going to have that information and you're going to be able to do a little more work. But I wanted to get into now some of the things that I know are really fun for you. Building websites might not be fun for you. It might be something that you know you need to do. But from a brand perspective, your brand personality is I always think is a fun component of the branding exercise and the branding work that you do. And I know I've talked about this before on the Saturday sessions about if you built a superhero and essentially that's your brand. I mean, think about superheroes. They have distinct colors and distinct features. Wonder Woman has her lasso of truth. Wonder Woman was my favorite superhero. Linda Carter, in particular, was my favorite Wonder Woman. Yeah, drop in the chat who your favorite superhero is. I'd love to see that. But oh, I already heard somebody dropped one in. Oh no, somebody hasn't dropped one in yet. All right, drop in your superhero if you can think of one. Uh, but I used superheroes to really illustrate the idea of your brand having a distinct personality. I mean, when you think about it, oh, we do have some here. We got Crystal said Batman. Robin said Captain Planet. Oh gosh, I haven't thought about him. Maria, Wonder Woman. What Wonder Women? Wonder Woman. Let's see. Kianda said Wonder Woman was mine too, but also Iron Man. I like that. You know what? I can do Wonder Woman or Iron Man. I sometimes I feel like Tony Stark in the movie where he's got the screens that just appear. Like I just feel like I shift some things around. Oh, I like this. We've got Catwoman. Oh, I like the Wonder Twins. Amanda, I love that. Rocky said Captain America. Uh, let's see. Connie said, my kids thought I was Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, and they thought my husband was Superman, Christopher Reeves. Oh, that's so cool. And Mary said, I'm actually wearing my Wonder Woman shirt today. Oh, you know what? We need a special group for travel marketeers and Wonder Woman. Let's see. Well, I got a lot of Wonder Women out there. I love it. And Iron Man. I love this. I love it. And Rebecca said, true story, Steve's dad's name is Bruce Wayne. I love it, Rebecca. That is fantastic. Oh, and Melissa said Mary Poppins. I wouldn't have thought of Mary Poppins as a superhero, but yes, she's super and a hero and is a perfect illustration of, again, the brand personality. Like if you said Mary Poppins, there's so many things that evokes, right? So let's talk about brand personality. so brand personality is also critical in the differentiation process, right? Or that component of building your brand, making sure that you are differentiated. Um, and it humanizes the brand. It gives it depth, nuances. It is something that you are doing when let's forget all the brand work. Now we start to get into the visual tools that you use when you're communicating your brand. So it's that is all about the brand personality. So that's you taking everything that you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, and this is you are the superhero. And what does that superhero look like? What colors do they use? And it's another part of I said differentiation, but it's another part of how you can make yourself easily identifiable to your audience. And when I talk about audience, I'm talking about people who are, people who follow you on social, people who you know in the world. So follow you personally or follow your business, people who you meet in different community situations. It's really your circle of influence, okay? And there it's varying levels of uh, uh, depth that you have with your audience. But your brand personality, and again, I go back to you are your brand. So what is your personality? And sometimes I have found that people think that they don't have a personality. I've heard that, and doesn't that sound sad? I know you probably can guess how my face reacts when someone says that, but we're so used to ourselves every single day, right? We've lived with ourselves for decades, okay? Um, I go back to we are all unique. There is only one us in the galaxy, and don't forget that. So you might not be the you might not feel, let's say this, you might not feel like Wonder Woman, and maybe you're not, okay? You're not Wonder Woman, okay? And that's probably true. You're not Wonder Woman, but you are uniquely you. And if even if you don't feel like you're fabulous, you are fabulous, and you are the living, breathing entity that represents your brand. So as a human, you are a brand, and that humanity, I was about to say humanality, the humanity that that is you. It's you are here, therefore you are human, right? That humanity is what you infuse in your brand. Okay, so if anything, maybe you are the alter ego of your superhero. You're the Clark Kent to Superman, or Diana. Well, she was Diana Prince, and then she was Wonder Woman, right? So think about it that way. Oh, I never thought about it that way. That's your alter ego, right? You can flip, but in those situations, it was more dramatic. Don't hold yourself back from infusing yourself into your brand. When you do that, and the reason why I harp on it so much is I've seen it over and over again. I've seen people struggle with this, and you've got to let your personality fly because that is what people are going to buy from. Now, if you are worried that everyone's not going to like you, okay, you don't want everyone to like you. And if you are trying to get everyone to like you, no one is really going to love you. Okay? Wow, that felt a little Oprah, didn't it? Can we say it felt like Oprah? I don't know if it did really. Um, but honestly, you are not trying to get billions of people to be your customer. You could not service that, right? The people who are right for you, it's a small group of people, and that is enough to build a thriving business and to satisfy you. So be okay with that and understand that, you know what? You might not like me, and that's okay. But if you do like me, then we're going to connect and we're going to do something great. Okay. And I have to be okay with that. And once I am, then it makes it a lot easier. I'm not trying to reach everybody. Sorry, I really beat that one into the ground. So let's see, there was some chatting going on outside of superheroes. Um, oh, I like this. Let's see. Amanda said that's why we have our personal niches. Exactly. And Uh, let's see, Daniela, I'm definitely to everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. I think he said, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm definitely not everyone's cup of tea because, yeah, I think that's what you were saying. But maybe maybe Daniela, to be honest with you, I think you are everyone's cup of tea. Um, but anyway, that's fun. Let's see. What? Okay, so somebody said I want that on a t-shirt. Kate said I want that on a t-shirt, and I don't know what I said, but apparently we're talking t-shirts and fridge magnets. So I'm yeah, okay. Is that is that what we're really doing here? We're gonna make t-shirts and fridge magnets. No, no, no. All right. So brand personality. Okay, so I want to get into this. Oh, and also from a brand personality perspective, it boosts brand loyalty. Okay. So having a personality that people can cling to and easily identify, that is where loyalty and that connection comes from. Okay. So think about the things everyone knows. Well, not everybody. Some of you might not know, but many of you do know. I last year I started collecting Disney castles. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like, Disney castles, and they're in all shapes and sizes, okay? Had never been on eBay before, and let me just say, I was jonesing for some oh, I wanted to win. I wanted to win. Mia's laughing at that. Um, so so now my office is wall to wall. And Rebecca, thank you, because she didn't get me a castle, but I have some Disney. I have some a Mickey and Minnie that she got me. So now my office is covered in Disney stuff. And then it's also spilled out. We have a long gallery before you get to my office, and that long gallery is called that because now all my Disney collection has moved out there as well. So it looks like we're a Disney agency, and we're not. But I love Disney. Disney represents so many different brands, right? ESPN, Marvel, Star Wars, and then you've got all the Disney from the way classics to the modern classics. I mean, there's so much that's within the Disney brand. But you can say Disney, and most of us, our brain connects to something. So while I am not a fan of Disney movies, I'm not. There's something about the theme parks that strikes a chord for me. I have an attachment to it. And if I tell you I've collected Disney castles, I'm pretty sure you have an idea of of what I might like about it or what my office might. If you've never seen my office, you might have an idea of there's probably Mickey Mouse everywhere. Just saying there probably is. But you have a connection because that brand is so identifiable. Now, are you trying to be Disney? No, you're not. But I want you to look at the brands that you clearly understand their personality and and how they become a part of how you categorize things in the world. Because that's then what you can do with your brands. And Laura, I'm going to go back to Laura. I mentioned that she started her business in one area and then she's evolved it and now she's working on some sub brands or signature brands. Yes, she calls them signature brands that allow her some sub branding opportunities for her agency, which has multiple agents in it. Um, so when she decided to create signature brands, they all kept the same base name of her company, but they had these elements that signaled that niche or who that customer was. Okay. So what she's doing is her brand personality is what is consistent throughout her company. But then the sub brands are these little nuances, very much like looking at a brand like Disney and all the different sub brands. So she is doing that work. And the only way that she's able to do that work is she has clients who know her company name, her brand, and instead of creating all these different random brands that aren't connected to each other, she made sure that there were elements of all her brand with her brand choices that all connected back to the base brand. This is important, guys, because you do not have Apple's budget to market your business. You're never, if you decide to change direction, you're not going to be able to get it out to the world and the masses will start following you. You have to build on what you've already built. And then you can do some major changes at any time. You can always do anything that you want to do. You can do. But the way to avoid a huge disruption in the flow and people understanding um, is to make these subtle changes and keep on building on that brand equity that you're building. So whether you're just getting started or you've been doing this for a while, you just always want to evolution, not revolution. Let's see, hold on a second. Let's see. Connie said, "Do you have a Cincy Disney castle? If not, I have one for you." Hey, Connie, yeah, hook me up because I don't have a Cincy Disney castle. I didn't even know there was one. Oh, it's a sickness. Oh, wow. Okay, I need to stop with that. Um, all right, so this I want to get into this. Let's see. Uh, Brand archetypes. Okay. So, Carl Jung, back in 1919, outlined 12 personality archetypes. Okay. Many of you have heard of this before. Carl Jung is a name that many people have heard of. Um, but these archetypes, not everybody has heard of. It kind of reminds me a little bit of astrology. Okay. Um, uh, I just want to add that Rocky said, I have a Lord of the Rings Shire Sensi. I love that. Um, that's fantastic. So Carl Jung, um, the archetypes. Okay, going into this. So again, this will all be in the field guide. So don't be mad at me that if I go too fast on this. But I want to read these 12 archetypes for you because these are personality archetypes that you can attach to human beings. So again, if we're talking about our brand as a human, a superhero, your brand should fit into one of these personality archetypes. Okay. So I'm going to read them to you, and then you tell me just in the chat when I hit one of them, say that's my brand. Okay. I just want to see that. Um, all right, so number one, the innocent. These brands are all about simplicity, honesty, and just being plain old good. They want to make the world a better place and keep things pure and happy. So that's the innocent. All right, the explorer. Now, just because you're in travel doesn't mean you're an explorer. I'm just saying. All right, the explorer. These adventurous souls love to discover new things, push boundaries, and live life to the fullest. They encourage their customers to break free, chase their dreams, and experience the world. Now, I know a bunch of you are going to grab that one, but I want you to think about brand personality, not just what you do. Okay? I'm not saying that you can't be explorer. I'm just saying think about your brand and what you want to be known for. Okay. The sage, wise and knowledgeable, these brands are the go-to experts in their field. They love sharing their wisdom and helping others learn and grow. Okay, that's the sage. The hero, strong and determined, these brands are here to save the day. They aim to solve problems, overcome challenges, and make a big impact on the world. All right, so Ariana said sage. Laura, me. You know what, Laura, I'm glad that you said uh, sage for your business. Just knowing what I know about Laura's business and the brand that she's building, that was a good that I can see that for you. Lots of sage here. Sissy said the explorer. I knew that. Maria said innocent. Sabrina, innocent. I love it. Okay, well, there's still more. We got 12 in total here. I love this. I love this. All right, I gotta get Sabrina's off there. Okay, there we go. All right, the hero. Oh, we already did that one. The outlaw. Is there a song for outlaw? I don't know that I have one ready. Okay, the outlaw law. Rebels with a cause. These brands aren't afraid to break the rules or challenge the status quo. They appeal to those who dare to be different and want to stand out from the crowd. There, the outlaw. The magician. These brands create a sense of wonder and amazement. They make dreams come true and transform the ordinary into extraordinary. I love that. The magician. Oh, and then the lover. The lover, it's all about passion, intimacy, and creating deep connections for these brands. They want to make their customers feel special, desired, and cherished. Cherish. Hmm. I don't remember the song. All right, somebody is texting me. Hold on a second. It is the weekend, guys. I mean, people might want to talk to me. No, nobody did. It was a reminder for an appointment. That's sad. All right. Now the next one is the jester. Fun and playful, these brands are all about bringing joy, laughter, and a touch of humor to people's lives. They don't take themselves too seriously and love to entertain. So don't let the name of these archetypes overshadow what they're really embodying, right? So the jester sounds like somebody foolish, but when I read that description, fun and playful. So it's not serious, it's not the wise, it's not the sage, right? But it's keeping things light, fun, very joyful. Okay, that I can imagine quite a few of your businesses fitting that space. All right, the everyman. These down-to-earth brands are relatable and approachable. They are like the friendly neighbor you can count on, always there to lend a helping hand to offer support. Now, not that I know anybody on the call whose brand I would say is the everyman, but I do know quite a few agencies that is their approach. They're not they're not magical, they're not playful, they're not the wise sage, they're not the lover. I feel like anybody that says they're the lover has to say the lover. Uh, but they're, hey, I'm just like you. Sure, I can take the care of that for you. The easy peasy, it's the easy button, right? So I can see that fitting for many people. The caregiver, warm and nurturing. These brands are all about helping, supporting, and taking care of others. They're the ones you turn to when you need a bit of comfort or a shoulder to lean on. So here's an example of the caregiver. And I know one advisor, an agency owner who I've worked with, she deals she her focus is on families with where there's a disability in the family. Now, I would say that she's probably more on the playful, the sense of wonder side of things as a brand. But if she wasn't that, if that wasn't a part of her brand, I would say that the personality of that brand would be the caregiver because that's who I want if I want to make the most out of the travel, but I also need to make sure that I take care of things in a way that everybody's happy, everybody has a wonderful holiday together. You know what I mean? Like that to me, the caregiver fits so many scenarios where you've got those special things that you need to take care of. Even like food allergies. There's a lot of travel around food allergies. I mean, there again, the caregiver that fits. All right, so the ruler. These brands are leaders in their field, exuding confidence, authority, and control. They aim to create stability and order, offering a sense of security to their customers. Now, I'm going to throw something out there. Um, for those of you who are Disney destination focused brands, the personality of your brand, I think by default people would think the jester, the magician, they might go that route. But for somebody who definitely handles large families traveling through Disney, uh, and especially serving families who have been before on their own and who know how that can go terribly wrong. The ruler might be a great place for that brand to occupy in terms of an archetype. So again, I want you to don't hang up, don't put so much weight on the name as much the description. And then the final out of the 12 is the creator. These imaginative brands are all about innovation, self-expression, and making the world a more beautiful and interesting place. They inspire their customers to unleash their own creativity and originality. Now, that one I feel fits those explorers with that passion for the experience, not necessarily adventure, but the explorers that are searching for really getting the most out of a place, its culture. You see what I mean? I don't know. Now, you don't have to fall into one of your brand doesn't have to fall into one of these 12. It can be a mixture of the two. Okay. Which makes me think again, going back to astrology, I'm in Aries with a Pisces rising or something like that. You can grab different elements, but what I hope talking about this does is help you again the whole point of today was to go beyond logos and colors and fonts and things and really dive into how do I build a brand that fits in the world and is easy to understand. So if you can put your brand into one of these 12, then I think you're in a place where you can also make some of those creative decisions around the brand personality. So here's some questions. Again, write these down so you can kick them around later. They will be in the field guide. So don't, that's what I'm looking down at. So for the first question here, well, it's more of a task, is list 5 to 10 adjectives or traits that best describe your brand. Okay. And I use some of those in describing these archetypes, right? So the adjectives, I don't know why I'm saying it so weird, adjectives, or traits that best describe your brand. Just, give it a thought. Don't think about, oh, this is a good one. Don't think about what you want your clients to feel working with you. Okay, you know where I'm going with this? Because it's not necessarily about you want them to have peace of mind or stability. So it might be, in some cases, it might be. But don't make that the place that you're starting from. From a brand perspective, how would you describe the brand? And that could be going back to sequins and pink and glitter and if your brand had all those elements in it, is it quirky? Is it playful? Type of travel you do, it's just the way you want your brand to feel. And it looks like I am slowing down for something. Hmm. I hope you guys can hear me okay, because that would not be good. Uh, Glitching a bit. I can hear you. Okay. Hmm. I'm glad it waited until the tail end. So okay, I'm just gonna ignore that. So 5 to 10 adjectives. I don't know why I'm saying that so weird. Traits that describe your brand. Just jot those down. Not a big deal. Which one of the 12 brand archetypes? I'm gonna just read the names of them. Uh, Most align with your brand's values and characteristics. So again, I'm gonna go. Let's see. I lost the name of them. Fantastic. I have flipped the page and I've lost oh, there they are. Okay. Sorry. So we've got the innocent, the explorer, the sage, the hero, the outlaw, the magician, the lover, the jester, the everyman, the caregiver, the ruler, and the creator. So if you can think about which one of those best aligns with your brand, jot that down. And let's see, hold on a second. I just lost my oh, so man, I got too many pages in this field guide here. All right. Let's see here. The last part of this for this exercise would be to consider the people, the agencies around you or in your niche that you consider your competition. So take some of the traits that we talked about with the archetypes. And yes, thank you, Lori. She said if you missed it, Google 12 primary brand archetypes by Carl Jung, and you will get the list of the archetypes. Yeah, if you don't want to wait until Monday, you can definitely search for that right now. But take some of those descriptions of the different personality, the archetypes, and take the people you consider your competitors within your niche and list any of the traits that when you look at their brand, you you feel that's how you would describe. So that right there is a good way for you to now look outside of yourself and look at it's another brand and diagnose or assess that brand and see where they fit, and then see how do you stand up against them? And if you're just getting started, it's based on the ideas that you've put together, you formulated for your brand. How do you see yourself standing apart from them? And it might be that you all look the same. Maybe you look at your competitors and they all look the same. So you can start to make some choices about who you want to be, just to make that distinction even more clear. Now, you might not be going head to head with your competitor. You might not be, but this is a good exercise to look at what the competitive landscape looks like and how you can plan to show up and be different. Okay, it's a fantastic exercise to do, and just well worth it. Again, getting close to who you really think you are, it's it's so important. Now, we are towards the end, and now we're glitching, so that's fantastic. We have talked about purpose, we have talked about your vision, we have talked about brand personality. We have done a lot of the ideas around your brand and the work that you are doing to build it, or or the ideas to build it, or um, how you are showing up currently and how you want to evolve your brand. Okay. So I know that that's what's kicking around right now. I can tell that that's what you're thinking about, and that's a beautiful thing. I want you to stay in that place. Now, tomorrow when we get together, we are going to we're gonna wrap up on the brand component, and we're going to talk about your visual identity. And that's when we're going to talk about colors, fonts. I did think we'd get to that today, but I feel like we've done some really good work around around the foundations of your brand. So we're going to talk about the visual components, your brand identity system, which is your logo, your different brand marks, your color palette, your typography, we're going to get into brand tone. So we're going to talk about a few of those things. That right there, I don't want you to be worried, because if you're already further along in your brand journey, I don't want you to feel like we're going to stay in the place of just creating a brand. I just want to touch on some of the things that if you have already, if you've launched your brand, I want to make sure you have all these elements. In fact, there's one that I bet you didn't know I'm just going to tease that for a minute. There's one element of your visual identity system that you might not have. So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to get into bringing the brand to life outside of those visual systems. We're going to get into optimizing your website, and we'll do some basic building of web pages. Then we're also going to talk about your email newsletter. So I'll talk a little bit about content strategies around the newsletter, and then we're going to go in and build a newsletter. I am going to be using Email Plus, and I'm going to be using sites for websites. So hopefully you've activated those accounts so you can get in and maybe work side by side as I work on it. Both of those are free to get started in, so it just makes it easier for us to be working in one system. If you use other systems for either your website or your email, they all apply. But I wanted to do something that everybody could even just get in and play with me while we're doing this. So we're going to do in Email Plus, we're going to work on newsletters, but we're also going to work on a landing pages. And I'm going to talk landing pages. I'm going to talk about the difference between website pages and landing pages and how I would use both of them. We're going to get into social media more from a content perspective and scheduling content and different the things that have changed in terms of how you measure success on social media. And believe me, it's changed. It's not just about followers. It's definitely not about that. It's not about the hearts and the likes. There's definitely a shift that's been going on over especially since TikTok hit the scene, that is impacting how you will evaluate success on social media. So we'll talk about that. We're gonna go through after we do some of those practical dives into those platforms or into those components. Then we're going to dig into building a campaign. And I know because I've worked with many marketers where I've taken them through building a campaign that how I'm going to take you through it is going to make a difference in how you even think about campaigns and that it is within your reach to work on campaigns. So I am looking forward to tomorrow. I hope you had a great time at camp. I had fun. I hope you did. So what I'd love to know right now, I know we've got tomorrow we've got another day of camp, right? You got to show up, you got to get on that bus. Are you ready for the summer? So I know you got to get on the bus to get to camp, but I'm excited that you'll be here. So what is standing out in your mind today? Normally I ask what are you going to work on in the next 7 days? But I know there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to work on. So is there something that we talked about today that had the most impact for you today? I'd love for you to run through that on the chat. Drop that in because I want to visit that in just a second. Also, just a reminder, please join our private Facebook group for travel marketeers. Search on Facebook for Travel Marketeers, and you will find our Facebook group. Join there, say hi to everybody, and please go there if you have questions about branding, marketing. Not only will Andrea from my team jump in, or I'll jump in, but each other, help each other out because that's what you guys have been doing all day today, and I love it. I love it. All right, so let's pop over to the let's see what's going on in the chat here. Let's see. So Kate said s'mores on me. Love that. Let's see. As Kate said, I am not a we. I love it. Hey, you know what? That we need a shirt for. I am not a we. Wow, that's a good one. Uh, Kianda said, being my brand and what that really looks like. Oh, see, this warms my heart. Alicia said we versus I. I think that's I'm glad that that landed, guys. Kimberly said creating purpose, defining my why. Very, very good. And guys, if you have a chance to look at it tonight, I know I said I would give you the link in the field guide, but just search Simon Sinek TED Talk Finding Your Why. I think that's what it was called. You'll find it. It's a very entertaining segment, and it really has impacted the world of branding and marketing forever. So definitely check it out. Amanda said the difference between brand and marketing. I love it. Lilith said the archetypes. I'm glad that I could dust off Carl Jung's 1919 thing. I think that's great. Rocky, we versus I was a big one. Mia said honing in on my brand. Aaliyah said truly learning about what a brand is and how to establish one. You made it less scary, so thank you. I love that. Um, let's see. Heather said, my archetype isn't what I thought it would be. I have to determine if I want to change my brand to be what I want or continue as it's perceived. Ooh, Heather, that is a great, uh, that is a great question to ask yourself. And you have the power to change things if you want to change them, or sometimes it's just subtle tweaks. So I don't know your exact situation, but I'm just saying always lean towards evolution and not revolution. But I, 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 I think it should be what you want it to be. You don't want 5 years to go by and you say, "Oh, I wish I had aligned it better to my vision." Just just some just some food for thought there. Connie said, I'll be working on my brand purpose. Cynthia said the archetypes. Cynthia, I'm so glad you joined. Lori said, clarifying the importance of a brand and my brand purpose. I love it. I love it. Um, Crystal said, the branding is helping me get my niche down. Chat GPT gave me some great ideas of how to use things that I thought were going to hold me back. You know what? I am so excited that you weren't just watching me, you were listening to me in the background, and you went and looked things up and you played with ChatGPT or whatever, maybe Perplexity you guys dove into. That makes me so, so happy. And Angela, yes, Angela said, is this the one? Yes, this is the link to get to our Facebook group. So you can go to facebook.com/groups/travel marketeers and join that. We'll let you in, and just glad that you dropped that in. Thank you so much. Jasmine said, "Don't be afraid to record yourself, brand yourself. You are the brand." Yes, uh, this is fantastic. I love it. Let's see. And Rocky, thank you for helping out. Simon Sinek, Sinek. All right, guys. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And just really appreciate this attention to uh, travel marketeering and working smarter, not harder. Um, I love the fact that you guys are embracing the playing with your brand and being in your brand. Today was really all about sitting in the space of your brand. So tomorrow, when we start to dive into the real practical tactics, you are going to be starting from a fantastic place. And one where I will tell you, if you joined any of the Saturday sessions, we start to get into some topics and start to go a little bit deep. And sometimes someone will have a question that is really going back to the source. And this is the source. The things that we talked about today. Heather's saying that she's rethinking, or she's contemplating what, does she want to continue as she was perceived, or how her brand was perceived, or change it to what she wants? I mean, this stuff, tackle these questions now because it's going to smooth the road in the future, and just make it easier for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Now, obviously I've loved marketing, I've loved branding, I've been in it for a long time, but don't get it twisted. I love it because it it feeds the greater ambition and the goal of being a founder and growing your business. I don't like doing marketing just for marketing's sake. I like doing it because there is an outcome when you do it well or when you do good work, when you put the hard work in. And I can see from everybody's comments and the fact that you joined camp today and you stayed the whole time, I can tell that you guys are committed to it too, and that warms my heart. So know that this time that we spent together is going to pay off for you. And tomorrow we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to get into Canva. We're going to play. We're going to get into Email Plus. We're going to get into sites. Again, if you're not using those platforms, it's okay. I just wanted to show you guys something that everybody could play in, regardless of where you were at in your journey. So we're going to have fun tomorrow. Get some rest. Congratulations on getting through day one of camp, and I will see you tomorrow afternoon. And I don't know, maybe tomorrow is pajama camp day. I don't know. Maybe should everybody be in their pajamas? I don't know. Maybe I am. You know, I love a good costume. All right. Take care. I will see you real soon, and hopefully we won't have this delay towards the end of tomorrow's session. Take care, guys. Bye.